In the beginning there was a garden. It wasn't just any garden. This was Eden, a place of indescribable beauty and perfect peace. Imagine, if you will, a world where everything existed in harmony. The lion lay with the lamb, the rivers flowed with pure, clean water, and in the center of it all, God placed humanity. He created the first man, Adam, from the dust of the earth. He breathed life into him. Adam was not just a creation, he was a companion. He walked with God in the cool of the day. They shared a connection we can only dream of. God saw that it was not good for man to be alone, so he created a helper, a partner perfectly suited for him. From Adam's own side, God formed Eve. Amidst all this perfection, God gave them one single instruction. In the middle of the garden stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die. Then one day, a new voice entered the garden. It was subtle, cunning, and smooth. The serpent, a creature more crafty than any other, approached Eve. It didn't start with a command or a threat. It started with a question designed to plant a seed of doubt. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? The question twisted God's generous words. Eve, perhaps caught off guard, corrected the serpent. She recited God's command, but she added her own little spin. We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, "You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die." The serpent saw its opening. "You will not certainly die," the serpent promised her with absolute confidence. "For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Eve looked at the tree. She saw that the fruit was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and she also desired it for gaining wisdom. The serpent's words had changed her perception. The theme of obedience was now at a critical turning point. Would she hold fast to the one who gave her life? Or would she reach for the knowledge that was promised by the voice of doubt? In that moment, a profound shift occurred. Eve made a choice. She took some of the fruit and she ate it. This was an act born of self-righteousness. It was the quiet, internal belief that I know what's best for me. Then, she gave some to her husband Adam, who was with her, and he also ate. This act was also a form of idolatry. They created an idol out of their own desires. They worshipped the idea of becoming like God. The immediate consequence was not enlightenment, but shame. Their eyes were opened, yes, but not to divine wisdom. They were open to their own nakedness, their own vulnerability. The innocence that had once clothed them was gone, replaced by fear and guilt. When they heard the sound of God walking in the garden, they did what they had never done before. They hid. The one whose presence was once their greatest joy was now the source of their greatest fear. Now, imagine we could sit down with Adam, thousands of years later. Imagine the wisdom and regret etched on his face. We could ask him questions that have echoed through the ages.
Adam, after you ate the fruit, you and Eve hid from God. He had been your friend, your companion. Why did you hide from the one who gave you everything?
We hid because we were ashamed. Before that moment, we had never known shame. We were naked, but we felt no reason to cover ourselves. We were pure. But when our eyes were opened, we didn't see wisdom. We saw our own brokenness. We saw that we had betrayed the trust of the one who loved us most. It was also fear, a kind of fear we had never experienced. We heard his footsteps, the same sound that used to bring us such joy, and it was like thunder in our hearts. We weren't hiding from a monster, we were hiding from love itself.
Adam, the scriptures say you were with Eve when the serpent spoke to her. You were right there. You heard the lies. You heard the twisting of God's words. Why didn't you step in? Why didn't you speak up and stop the conversation?
That is perhaps my deepest regret. My silence. I stood there and I listened. A part of me knew it was wrong. I could feel it, but I did nothing. Why? I think I was curious. The serpent's promise of godlike knowledge was seductive. A part of me wanted to see what would happen. There was also a failure of leadership. God made me first. He gave the command to me directly. I was meant to be the guardian of our home, of our family, of our relationship with him. But I abdicated that role. My silence was a form of consent. It was my own quiet betrayal.
Adam, if you could go back to that moment in the garden, knowing everything you know now, the pain, the struggle, the separation, but also the promise of redemption, what would you do differently?
Everything. I would do everything differently. The moment I heard that first question from the serpent, did God really say? I would have stepped forward. I would have put my arm around Eve and faced that creature directly. I would have said, "Get away from us. We know the voice of our Father and you are not him." I would have turned to Eve and reminded her of all God had given us. I would have said, "Look at this world. Look at our life. Look at our walk with him. Why would we trade all of this for a piece of fruit based on a lie?" My silence was my failure. My voice would have been our defense. The great lesson I learned is this: obedience is not about blindly following rules. It is about trusting the heart of the one who made the rules. My second chance would not be about resisting a piece of fruit. It would be about running toward God, not away from him. That is the choice I wish I had made.